In order to find our own way, we must first be willing to lose ourselves in the way of another. We are encouraged to seek authenticity before we have even learned to properly hold the brush, the chisel, or the sword. We confuse impatience with creativity, wishing to speak with our own voice before we know the language of our craft. But the ancient masters understood that true excellence does not begin with self-expression. It all begins with the death of the ego. This is the foundation of Shuhari, a philosophy of mastery rooted in the traditional arts of Japan. The first stage is Shu, which means to protect, to guard, and to obey. In this stage of the journey, the student must arrive with empty hands. The sole purpose is to become a perfect mirror for the master's teachings. The disciple does not question the tradition, nor does he look for shortcuts or attempt to innovate. He simply repeats the teachings day after day and season after season. To the beginner's mind, this feels like confinement. Many disciples turn away during this stage because it requires patience that yields no immediate praise. Yet this selfless devotion is not meant to suppress the beginner's spirit. It is the soil in which the roots must grow. By copying the form precisely, we inherit the collective wisdom of generations who walk the path before us. We cannot truly break a rule with honor until we have lived entirely within its boundaries. Eventually, there comes a time when the roots have grown deep and the tree must inevitably break through the earth to meet the sky. This leads us to the second stage, Ha, which means to detach or to break away. In this stage, the student is no longer just a mirror of his master. Having fully internalized the form, he looks beneath the surface to understand its true spirit. The student begins to ask questions. Why must the brush be held at this precise angle? Why must the foot slide in this particular manner? Without forcing it, he tests the edges of the tradition against the reality of his own nature and his own unique vision for himself. This transition is rarely seamless. It is a time of necessary trial and error, much like a young bird leaving the safety of the nest. We begin to integrate outside perspectives, blending different insights and learning from our own mistakes. Eventually, after years of loyalty and obedience and years of deliberate exploration, the friction disappears entirely. The student enters the stage of transcendence, which means to leave the form behind. At the highest peak of mastery, we no longer think about the rules, nor do we think about breaking them. The technique has become so deeply woven into the fabric of our being that it is now inseparable from our own nature. The master's actions flow as effortlessly as water moving down a mountainside, responding perfectly to the needs of the moment without hesitation or forced effort. The skill is no longer something to practice. It has become an authentic expression of who we truly are. The disciple has left the master's shadow, not because he rejected that guidance, but because he has finally become the path itself. The process reminds us that the path to true freedom and mastery is a slow, honest journey. It teaches us that if we are ultimately to fly, we must first have the humility to walk the ancient path exactly as it was laid.